What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another lesson. So in this one, we're going to talk about mathematical operations real quick, so I can introduce you to different ways that you can actually operate integers and numbers basically in Python and things you can do with them, and just a quick introduction to actually the order of mathematical operations as well, because something that you need to understand if you want to do mathematical operations. So so far we've talked about a certain mathematical operation, that is adding something, right? Addition. So we've done this with numbers in the previous lessons. We've done this with integer. We've done this with strings, right? We concatenated strings. Obviously concatenating two strings are two different things from like adding numbers, right? For example, if we actually give this a variable, that would be that would add two numbers, right? So if you print 8, that would essentially give us the number 8, right? So that is basically that addition. Very simple concept, right? And now, but there are more actually that you can use. For example, you can actually use the subtraction. So you can subtract two items, like 7 minus 2, something like that. Very simple stuff. And then also you can actually multiply. So that is multiplication, right? So 2 times 2, for example. Now the thing about multiplication is that you're not going to use the x like you usually usually draw when you're actually writing on a piece of paper. You're going to use the asterisk. So that's just how it works in programming. You're not going to use x, you're going to use the asterisk, and that is multiplication. Very simple stuff. And then finally, we're gonna do division. So you divide numbers. So for example, 4, and the way you divide is using /. So 4 divided by 2, and that's going to give you 2 in this case. Now, one of the things you want to remember is that when you actually divide something in Python, it's going to always give you a floating number, even when it is it's supposed to be a full integer number. For example, let me actually turn all these into comments, okay? And let's test this out. So we're gonna say a number equals 4 divided by 2. So that's gonna give us 2, right? So if you print it, it's gonna give us let's just get this. There you go. So that's gonna give us 2. If you take a look, we got a 2 here, right? 4 divided by 2, but you also have a 2.0. So that's basically how it is in Python. You always get a float when you divide something. So that's just something to remember, all right? So that's one of the things that you want to know. Again, dividing, right? That's pretty simple. Now, a few other things that you want to remember, well, just one more thing, is actually using a double asterisk, which is going to allow you to use the power function. So if I want to say 2 to the power of 4, for example, we can use this. So a double asterisk is essentially going to allow you to use this to the power function. So this is one of the reasons that Python is pretty much loved by a lot of data science experts, because it is very easy to do mathematical operations in it, and you can do a lot of interesting stuff with it. So the reason we're talking about this is that, again, these are very simple stuff. If you're not getting it, make sure you just practice it a little bit, make some variables using this stuff. Just keep in mind to put this to practice and use. But one of the things I want to talk about is, which is more important subject, is the order of ways you actually function and operate something in Python. So for example, we got a lot of different mathematical operators. We got the plus, minus, multiplication. We got the division, right, dividing something, and we got the power, right? So one of the things you want to remember, especially when you're like calculating something mathematically, is the order of operation, meaning that like which operations are going to be done first. And in Python, the way you do this is this is what you want to remember. This is actually something I think they would teach you in elementary as well. PIMDAS. So like that means that parentheses, okay, and then it means exponents, or essentially the powers, right? And then this means multiplication and division and addition and subtraction. So again, that's basically the order of things. That the way actually I'm just copy and paste this for you so you can take a look at it. This is essentially the order of things: parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So these are the order of things in Python. Now the way what this means is that when there's an operation, okay, when there is a like Python is supposed to calculate something, it's going to look for these in order. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that addition is more important than subtraction. It's more like this. This can be a little bit misleading. It's more like this. Additions, subtractions are the same, and multiplications and divisions are kind of the same. And then there's parentheses and exponents. So parentheses are most important, and then exponents, and then multiplication, division, and then addition and subtraction. So this is pretty much the order of calculating anything in Python. And obviously it's from left to right. So like, you know, when it doesn't find parentheses, it's going to go to exponents. It doesn't find exponents, it's going to go to multiplication and division. So you know, again, that's just how you want to remember it. And also, for example, if there's a multiplication and division in the same you know, operation, it's going to operate the first one closest to the left. So let me actually give you an example. Let's say, okay, let's get rid of this, or let's just comment this out. So let's actually do something fun. All right, so let's say we're gonna print something. Well, there you go, print it. All right, so I'm gonna print something complicated, all right, or like something just that looks complicated. For example, 4 times 4 plus 4 divided by 4 minus 4. So think about this for a second. What do you think is going to come out of this? All right. And one of the things that you can do, actually, you can actually put it in funny, which actually we can do that right now. So, you know, what do you think is going to come out of this particular operation? So based on this, let's think about this for a second. So based on this, we're going to get the parentheses first, right? So let's just go here. There you go. So we're going to get the parentheses first. So everything that we have is in the parentheses. So that's just going to be happening. So, and then exponents, we don't have any exponents, right? So then we're going to get the multiplication and division. Now the problem is that we have multiplication and division, right? But multiplication is happening first because it's on the left, right? So this is the first thing that is going to happen, right? And then we're going to get the division, which is 4 divided by 4. So basically what we're going to get is 4 times 4, which is 16, and then plus 4 divided by 4, which is going to be 1, 17, and the minus 4, again, the addition and the subtraction, that's going to be minus 4. Right? That's 17 minus 4 is going to be 13. So if you actually print this or run this, we're going to get 13. So just like that, we, you know, printed something like this. But again, I just want to show you the order of things. Now we can actually play with this and change it up. So let's say let's think about something. All right. Let's say I want to change this without changing the numbers, and I won't change the outcome of this. And there's a very simple way to actually do this if you think about it. What we can do is we can actually add a parentheses here and like between these two, right? So what we do with this, basically when we add this parenthesis, is that first we're gonna calculate everything inside this parenthesis, and then we're gonna go inside this parenthesis. That means we're gonna make it like 4 plus 4. It's gonna be 8 because again, parentheses are important. Like that's the first priority right here, right? So parentheses are important. If I actually can put this in funny, we would have a much easier time understanding it. All right. So let's run this, and we're gonna get a 4, right? So let's debug it real quick. So let's step into it. So the first thing is going to happen is obviously the whole function, and then it's going to look at inside the parentheses, right? Take a look inside the parentheses, and then it's going to look into what do we have inside that first parentheses. Here we go. And then it's going to add these two numbers to each other. Perfect. And then I'm going to make them 8, right? And then it's going to multiply 8 by 4. That's going to be 32. and then it's going to say 4 and then it's going to multiply 32 by 4, or divide 32 by 4, which is going to be 8, and then 8 minus 4, it's going to be 4. And as you see, it can get a little bit complicated. Even I was having a hard time a little bit understanding it, but the point is parentheses can make a huge difference, and when you run this, there you go, we get the 4. See guys, this is pretty much how the operations work, and also like how different it can be by just placing a few different parentheses all over the place. Like just a different parenthesis, like a placement of parentheses, can actually change the outcome of the entire operation. So it's something important to remember. And you know, operations are by themselves are very simple, but in Python, when you see something like this, just remember that these parentheses can make a huge difference. You want to pay attention to them. Thank you so much, guys. In the next video, we're going to do a cool and really nice quick practice to put all this stuff to use, especially operations. I want to make sure that you use this understanding in action. So we're going to make a really nice BMI calculator, and and like look at some formulas and basically turn a formula into a Python program. Again, it's a really nice and fun practice to, you know, kind of help you to turn a formula into a program. That way you end up, you know, understanding, like, can imagine these things better, and when you actually have to create a real program, you end up imagining things better and putting in structuring everything much easier. So it's a nice practice, and let's get started with that as well. I'll see you in the next lesson, guys.